Hey.
My husband just confessed to me that he settled for me. Disclaimer is not my story time, send me an Instagram. Ugh. My husband and I met when we were in college. My best friend at the time, let's call her Tori. Her and I lived together and were best friends. We did everything together. I mean, we were like sisters. Let's call my husband Jack. Jack came to school and he was a newbie. He had 0 friends, so Tori and I decided to take him in. So the 3 of us went on to become the 3 Musketeers. He would stay over our apartment so much that we actually just asked him to move in. We would cook for each other, help each other study. We would even do each other's laundry whenever somebody needed help. I'm telling you, we were all like a tight-knit family. But I have a confession. As soon as Jack moved in, I started falling in love with him. But at the time, I never had the balls to ever tell him. You see, Tori was considered the prettier of the 2 of us. And I never resented Tori for that, but people made it very clear that she was the prettier one. And she was always the one to get hit on, never me. But one night, we all got drunk and Jack ended up kissing me. He actually even tried to hook up with me, but I said no, part 2 is up. My husband confessed that he settled for me. Disclaimer, it's not my story time, I sent me on Instagram. That night he tried to hook up with me, but I said no. Following morning, he actually apologized. At the time, Tori had just started dating another guy. I mean, Tori had a new boyfriend every single week. At the time, I wished I could have 1 boyfriend. While she had 10, I had 0. This is when I started noticing that Jack was a little jealous of Tori's new relationship. Anytime her new boyfriend would come over, he would get in a really bad mood. I asked him if he was jealous and he said no. A few days later, we all got drunk again and Jack kissed me again. Eventually, we ended up dating and he asked me to be his girlfriend and then we got married. And that all happened within a year. Tori at this time had already gotten married to the guy that she was dating. We actually both had our weddings around the same time. At the time, I felt so lucky that I was able to marry the man that I had fallen in love with in college. I was actually afraid that I would end up alone because I wasn't as pretty as Tori. Fast forward to a year after we all got married. We actually all ended up living in the same cities as well. Tori invited us over for dinner to see their new house. During the dinner, my husband decided to have a few too many drinks. And that's when he blurted out, "I actually liked Tori before I liked you. I only married you because Tori got engaged." They all laughed at this. They clearly thought it was a joke. I laughed it off too. Part 3 is up. My husband confessed to me that he settled for me. Disclaimers are not my story time, I sent me on Instagram. That's when he said in front of everyone that he only married me because he lost his chance with Tori. They all laughed. I mean, even Tori's husband found it funny. When we finally got in the car to head home, I asked him if he actually meant it. He looked at me and he said, "Yeah, I liked Tori before I liked you," and that the only reason he hooked up with me was because he was mad at Tori. I started to cry uncontrollably. This whole time, I never thought he had a thing for Tori. He stops the car and he says, "But I love you," that he had no feelings for Tori anymore. I asked him why he would think that was okay to say out loud. He said he had probably had too many drinks. Yeah, it's the alcohol's fault for sure. When we got home, I asked him again if he really loved me. That's when he explained that the love he has for me is different than the love he had for Tori, and that he was actually infatuated with Tori. That our love was safe love. He said, "Just forget about what I said. It was just a joke. I just wanted to make everyone laugh." That's when I realized that he had made a joke at my cost. And it was all to make Tori laugh. Called Tori the next day and explained everything to her. That's when she confessed that her and Jack had been hooking up in college. That sometimes they would hook up when I was asleep on the couch. That they had even done it on top of the kitchen counter and in my bedroom. I told my husband, and that's when he said that I needed to let it go. That Tori was part of the past. He doesn't even touch me or kiss me. He's always angry and reproaching everything that I did. Thinking about leaving him. We don't have kids yet. What should I do?
Am I the asshole for not paying for my niece's college tuition? I, 45 male, am the father of 3, 21 male, 25 male, and 18 female. I also take care of my niece, 17 female, after her father passed away. My wife, 45 female, and I have always treated her like family, and we give her things equally so she doesn't feel left out. I honestly really care about her, but financially I can't support her all my life. When my eldest moved out, I had more money to spare, so I was able to get her more things. My daughter is now going away to college, so my niece was excited and came to my wife and I to talk about colleges she liked. I told her that was fantastic and she should start looking at scholarships. Am I the asshole for not paying for my niece's tuition? I said it was great she was thinking about college and that she should start applying to scholarships now so it was easier later. She then asked why when her scholarship would be paid for. I told her that no, I wouldn't. I only had money to pay for my kids, but I would help her out with the basic necessities. She was silent after that and went to her room. Apparently she spoke to my father because he called me in a rage and said I was being cruel, especially since my brother was always close to me when he was alive. I told him I just don't have that type of money saved, and he said if I cared for her then I would have started saving as soon as I took her in. My brother died very young, so he didn't have much saved, and my niece's mother's side isn't offering anything. I admit I should have told her I wasn't paying that earlier, but I didn't. Am I wrong? Am I the asshole for my response to my sister-in-law's comment about my miscarriage? Me, female 31, and my sister-in-law Valerie never had a close relationship for some reason. We were on okay terms most of the time, and that is until she started making comments about my physical health. She'll say how thin and small my figure is, but I've always been like this, especially my flat chest or non-existent butt. In comparison, she's blessed in those areas. She cares so much about her appearance. Most of her time and money is spent on that. Anyway, I try not to get offended. I finally got pregnant after 3 years of trying, and the whole family was thrilled. Unfortunately, I had a miscarriage. Am I the asshole for my response to my sister-in-law's comment about my miscarriage? I had a miscarriage 2 weeks ago, which was unexpected and devastating. Mother-in-law invited me for dinner as a way to cheer me up. Valerie and my brother-in-law were there too. We were talking and Valerie brought up my miscarriage. She flat out said that the miscarriage happened because of my small body and my limited potential it has. My husband looked at me hoping I'd let it go, but I looked at Valerie from head to toe, then pointed at her chest. I said, "Oh, I see where all your brains and class melted to." She was stunned and brother-in-law got upset, but she made a jab at my body and blamed me for my miscarriage. We did leave, but my husband scolded me. Am I wrong for kicking my mother out of my wedding? My late wife passed away 6 years ago, and we dated for 4 years and were married for 1 before her passing. My mom loved her as a daughter, and I guess she truly never recovered. I loved her too, but after spending time with my current wife, I'm sure she was not the love of my life. My mom has never liked my relationship with my wife now, Helena, and she thinks I moved on too fast. She refuses to admit that the love I have for Helena is stronger. There have been many instances where she's crossed the invisible line, but Helena has always asked me not to say anything. She asked several times if I could invite my late wife's parents to my wedding as an act of love. Am I the asshole for kicking my mother out of my wedding? I haven't talked to them in years and have no reason for keeping them in my life. She was very adamant, and even Helena said it would be okay. I felt like my mom was holding on to my previous marriage too hard, and I was done. I don't want the burden of always having my ex-in-laws there watching the life her daughter and I didn't have. Well, they showed up to my wedding and said my mom invited them. My mom said their family and I explained they weren't invited. I said they could stay for the reception, but I told my mom to leave immediately.
Am I wrong for not replacing one of my groomsmen after he cheated on a bridesmaid? My fiance and I are getting married in 2 months. I have 4 groomsmen, including my brother, cousin, a close childhood friend, and a close college buddy. My fiance's best friend was in a long-term relationship with him, but unfortunately for her, he got exposed as a cheater. I don't know the details of it, and honestly, I don't want to. I wasn't aware of the cheating prior to the time it was discovered. I feel that his relationship with her is none of my business. My fiancé, on the other hand, does. She now hates him and is demanding that I replace him. She said he'll be a toxic presence to our wedding because the woman he cheated on is going to be a bridesmaid. I was bothered by this. This guy is one of my closest friends. I have known him since we were 18. I want him to be a groomsman. I said that they both can go and just set aside their beef for one day. After all, the date isn't about them. It's about us, and the relationship is none of our business. She said that she was putting her foot down on this and that my friend wouldn't be in her wedding. I said that if it's that big of a deal, she can drop his ex from the wedding, and that if she doesn't want that, then we can go along with the initial plan. She's been pissed at me since and hasn't relented on this at all. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for letting my pregnant coworker get in trouble? I, 24 female, work an office job. I have a coworker, Anne, 28 female. Anne is currently 6 months pregnant. We have a dedicated break room where we go for lunch, as we aren't allowed to eat anything or drink anything except water bottles in the office because of the computers. We all have our own break schedules that are the same every day. Anne and I go to break together. Our lunch break is from 1:30 to 2:30. No one else is on the schedule and take their breaks earlier or later. In the break room, there's a few chairs and a couple of couches. Over the past 2 weeks, Anne has started taking naps on one of the couches during her lunch break. I know it's not my business as to what she does on her break. She can do what she wants. Last Friday, Anne and I were taking our breaks as usual. I was listening to music on my headphones, and when it was around 2:30, I got up to go back to work. I didn't really pay attention to what Anne was doing. Everyone was confused and was saying, "Where's Anne?" by around 3 o'clock because they needed her. Anne, our boss, went into the break room and Anne was still sleeping. Anne got a warning from our boss. Anne is now angry with me because our breaks end at the same time, so I should have woken her up. She said I am selfish and careless. A lot of our coworkers are on Anne's side and agree. I told Anne if she can't wake up, she shouldn't sleep during her break. She said the baby makes her tired and accused me of calling her lazy and being insensitive. Just an edit. When my break was ending, I was scrolling on my phone and listening to music. I have ADHD. When I do these things, I'm quite oblivious to my surroundings. I didn't not wake Anne because of malice. Honestly, I feel like everyone's a grown-ass adult, especially if you're in the workforce. It's no one's responsibility to go check on you. Yeah, it would have been nice. You're not the asshole for it. She should be able to set an alarm. Like, it's not your fault.